Hello, I'm Liam Pierce, and welcome to the third episode of Subfolio's Inside the Review process. This third episode covers a lower volume review workflow I call the Editor-in-Chief Review. In this review workflow, the editor-in-chief of the magazine or press makes the final say on every submission, but uses a team of 4 volunteer readers to gather feedback and reduce bias. This review process can handle from 1 to a few hundred submissions in a month with a team of 4 volunteer readers and 1 editor-in-chief. We'll also cover some common edge cases in review workflows in the wild, like paid feedback and paid expedited review, and how they can be designed to skip through the standard review flow. Like in other episodes, we'll start by going over a flowchart of the review, then we'll go over an example team and how it's using it, then we'll show how it's built in Subfolio. This is the flowchart of the Editor-in-Chief review. You can see there are 2 paths to the Editor-in-Chief. One is through 2 volunteer reader rounds. The other is through paid expedited review. When a submission is first received, if a submitter paid for expedited review, the submission is moved immediately to the Editor-in-Chief round, and a final decision is made, either accept or reject. Otherwise, the submission is first moved to Volunteer Reader Round 1, where 1 of 2 volunteer readers for Round 1 is assigned. They make their vote, and they add comments to the chat, and either way, the submission is then moved to Volunteer Reader Round 2. 1 of 2 Round 2 reviewers is assigned, and then it's moved to the Editor-in-Chief. And again, the Editor-in-Chief makes a final decision, either accept or reject. Not every organization will want to include paid expedited review or paid feedback requests, but we see this often enough that we felt it was important to include. In some ways, this review process is more simple than others we've shown, but the addition of a paid expedited review option, feedback requests, and a workflow with multiple round entry points makes this review notable. It shows how smaller teams can still branch away from Subfolio's default single round of voting to make their reviews meaningful and unbiased. Now that we've taken a look at the flowchart, let's look at the Subcalls and Schedules tab in the system. You can see there are 2 categories, art and fiction. Both cost $3, but it says min because there are add-ons. In the art category, you can see it's a paid submission and there's a review workflow set, the EIC review. In submission limits, there are no limits, either global or per submitter. There are no revisions allowed, the guidelines are set, and there are form elements. You can see the writer information, the address, and the submission upload are disabled. There are additional questions added for expedited review, feedback, and the submission upload is added again so that it's ordered last. Let's take a look at our 2 paid add-ons. First, we'll edit expedited review. You can see there's an added price of $3 and an automatic tag. In the feedback request question, you can see the same, a $3 add-on price and an automatic tag. If we edit the submission upload question, you can see that only images, video, and audio are allowed, since this is an art category. On each type, if you click the drop-down, you can choose specific formats to allow or disallow. The fiction category is very similar. It has the same EIC review workflow, a $3 price, no submission limits, no revisions, some guidelines set, and the same form elements, except the submission upload allows all doc types. Both the expedited review and the feedback request question have automatic tagging here too. In submission tags, we only have the expedited review and feedback request tag, along with a previous contributor tag the system makes by default. In the Readers and Accounts tab, we have our Editor-in-Chief, our Round 1 first reader, our Round 1 second reader, our Round 2 first reader, and our Round 2 second reader. In the system, we also have groups for Round 1 and Round 2 review. In review workflows, we have 1 review workflow named EIC Review. You can see there are 3 rounds, the Round 1 review, the Round 2 review, and the Editor-in-Chief review. In the Communication Templates tab, I've left only the default acceptance and default rejection letters. This is what the default acceptance looks like. You can see in the subject the submitter's first name and the submission title. The body of the email is very simple. This is just an example to show you what the system can do with mail merge, but you can design your own letters and use HTML emails too. Let's submit 2 submissions, one to each category. We'll start by issuing a fee waiver. In the submission, I've already filled my title, my cover letter, and I've chosen a feedback request. Finally, I'll choose my art from my portfolio and click Submit. Back in the system, on the main submission list, we can see the new submission and we can see that it's assigned to our Round 1 Reader 1. If we click in, we can see the full submission. Now let's submit to Fiction. I'll again make a fee waiver. Then we'll load the waiver, set our title. This time we'll leave both these options off. I've uploaded a file, and I'll submit. Back on the main submission list, you can see our next submission to Fiction. It's still in Round 1, and this time Reader 2 is assigned. If we click in, we can see this submission. Let's submit one more submission to the art category, and this time we'll request expedited review. I'll load the fee waiver again, add a title and cover letter, and I've chosen expedited review. I'll add a file, and submit. It's important to note that without a fee waiver, each of these options would add a price to the submission. You can see at the bottom it says, add-ons on the page bring the total to $9 after I've added both expedited review and feedback. Fee waivers can also be set to disallow add-ons. Back in our main submission list, you can see this third submission was treated differently. This one is in the EIC review already. It's unblinded. Let's click through. You can see at the top, we're in the EIC review. The submitter's name is public, and we can see all the files and the review, and in the voting tab, the editor-in-chief is assigned directly. We'll come back to this submission later, but you can see the answer expedited review changed how the review workflow started. Let's start the review for this first submission by logging into Round 1 Reader 1. I'm now logged in as the first Round 1 reader. You can see I only have one submission, and I have a simplified view of the system. Let's click into the first submission. For me, you can see the submission is blinded. I can see the files, the category, title, and that there was no expedited review, and there was a feedback form requested. If I open the file, I'm prompted to vote. I'll score the submission a 9 and submit. After voting, the submission is automatically moved to Round 2. In the chat, I can still add my feedback. Let's write a message about how we felt about the submission. And we'll send it. It's also possible to use a custom review form to accept this feedback. For example, putting a score the submission question with scores 10 through 0, then a long response write your feedback question. Then in the round, instead of 0 through 10 scoring, you could choose a custom form with our custom review we just made. If we had designed our review that way, then during voting, the reader could score the submission and submit their feedback within the same form. But for the rest of this review, we'll assume you use the chat. Now that the Round 2 second reader is assigned, let's log in as them and vote on this submission. Now that we're logged in as the Round 2 second reader, we can see what the first reader said in the chat. If you don't want this, that's one benefit of using that custom form from earlier. When we open the file, we can vote. Let's say this reader scores it a 9, and we'll submit. When we vote 9, the submission is moved to the EIC round. And finally, we'll add our feedback for the EIC to read. Now that our 2 art submissions are in the EIC round, let's move our fiction submission there too. We'll have our 2 readers vote, and leave their feedback, and will come back when they're done. We are now logged in as the editor-in-chief, and you can see there are 3 submissions assigned to us. Let's start with the expedited review. Before we start reviewing this submission, let's take a look at the settings of the editor-in-chief. We'll click the Open button, and click Editor-in-Chief, and scroll down. You can see there are some important notification settings, such as every new assignment and inbound submission messages. When running an expedited review, it's important to have every new assignment send you a notification, because they might be for expedited reviews. Since this submission was expedited, neither the Round 1 nor the Round 2 readers have seen it yet. As the editor-in-chief, you can open the file, vote yourself, and decide on the submission by going to Actions and either accepting or rejecting. Let's accept this first submission. We'll click Next, then Next again, and click Send and Accept. Let's go into the next submission. We can read the conversation from our 2 round readers, go to Voting, and vote ourselves. Then we can see what our other screeners have voted. If we open the form, we can click to see their actual votes. From here, we make our decision. Based on the feedback from the readers, let's say the editor-in-chief decides this submission should be accepted. This submitter asked for feedback. So let's make a custom acceptance. We'll go to Accept, and we'll choose Custom Message and click Next. Here, we can add a reply to, an email subject, attachments, and an email body. Or, we could choose our template, Default Acceptance, click Next, and click Edit. Here, we can add our feedback. Then, once we're done adding feedback, we can click Next and Send and Accept, and slide to confirm. Let's open the final submission. We can see that our readers said this isn't a fit and it doesn't match the guidelines. We can vote for the submission ourselves, and finally see the scores of our readers. Let's go to Reject. We'll use the default rejection, click Next, and click Send and Reject, and confirm. All of our submissions are now either in the Declined folder or in the Accepted folder. Now that we've seen this review in action, let's see how it's designed. Let's take a look at the first round. Round 1 is anonymous. It uses 0 through 10 scoring with the average total score scoring method. It assigns using a custom list round robin from that Round 1 group we set up. For fallback, it queues for assignment, and with automatic advancement, when the voting is done, it automatically goes to the next round. As you know, when a submission has expedited review, it automatically goes to the editor-in-chief round. Let's see how that's done. In the workflow rules, there's a on-enter-round rule named Skip for expedited review. In that rule, there's one condition that says, if the submission has the tag expedited review, jump to round 3. That's all it takes to skip through for expedited review. Since submissions with expedited review have that tag automatically, this condition will always be true for expedited review submissions, without any intervention. That also means that when the editor-in-chief receives the assignment notification, the expedited review tag will be there. That makes it clear right from the email that the submission needs faster review. Round 2 and the EIC round are very simple. Round 2 is just an anonymous 0 through 10 scoring round with a custom list round robin from round 2. And the EIC round is the same, but with only one assignment, the editor-in-chief. Again, not every organization is going to want expedited review or feedback request questions. But looking at this review workflow shows us how reviews can skip through to different rounds based on different conditions. This video has shown how a smaller magazine reviews submissions with a team of volunteer readers. It's also shown how that same magazine uses expedited review and feedback requests in that same workflow. Thanks for watching.